Because then you have the opportunity to get.
I thought you were going to say like you joined something.
It doesn't matter. So if your number got okay. So guys, can you quiet down, please? So welcome. Please quiet down.
My name is Loesvidhya. I'm a junior and I am president of Chinese Culture Club at Geneseo. I joined Chinese Culture Club through mutual friends. I originally mainly only joined the Japanese Culture Club and the Korean American Student Association, but through that, some mutual friends brought me there, and ever since I went there, I fell in love because the seniors at the time really brought me in and took care of me, so I ended up joining it, and this is why I'm in the position I am today.
I'm going to call up one person for me, or actually you guys can choose who goes first, but everybody has to go. Okay? So I need one person from each team to play rock, paper, scissors. The losing team will have one of their squares ripped in half. We're only going to do hot dog or hamburger, right? No diagonal.
So what made me join Chinese Culture Club was actually my roommate freshman year. He's a first-generation Chinese American, and during my freshman year I wasn't really doing too much. I was just kind of hanging around the room, not really going out, so he asked if I was interested in coming to Chinese Culture Club. And at first I was pretty surprised because I've never experienced any Chinese culture before. Obviously living in a rural town in upstate New York never really gave me many opportunities to, but it's probably one of the best decisions I made here my freshman year was to go to that first meeting.
Their main focus was the fact that they wanted to prevent another race from entering the argument of naturalization. So at the time, the only people that could be citizens in the United States were white Americans and descendants of African American heritage in the state, or in the United States. And then later in the 1900s, Japanese American immigrants also rejected Chinese immigration.
Curtains open, lights on.
Wait on.
What do you want?
It's late. Just thought I'd walk you back.
Silly me, I thought you were going to explain yourself. Are you going to apologize or what?
I never violated our engagement. Man, you're such a jealous woman who feels empowered by manipulating your family.
Slow down each one of those like, okay. I'll try to keep this simple. Give some more time, okay? Like, because you're kind of cooling down the situation here, so just give it a little more time at the end.
Since this is my last China night, this is my third one in a row. Obviously, I have a very different background than many of the other people on your board who directly relate to this cultural event. But for me personally, it's given me an opportunity to take a lot of leadership roles, not only to learn about certain aspects of this culture more in depth, but also kind of test my own abilities and see if I can actually put on a performance that people really enjoy.
So this year's skit it takes place in San Francisco during the Chinese Exclusion Act, and it's very different from what we usually do because usually we focus on mythology or folk tales, but this time we're going a more political route. Mainly because we've had the tradition and we never tackled any big issues, but our skit really can relate to political issues that happen nowadays.
When you're on my turf, you speak English, damn it. What's this you have? This gonna help you fit in?
Give that back. Well, I'm just trying to get home.
Well, this isn't your home. And your kind is ruining this country.
We're just trying our best to make it here.
You don't belong here.
It's pretty simple. We're hated for looking different, being different.
They forced Chinatown's existence. They refuse to let us live anywhere else but here.
Okay, so a little bit more emotion in the beginning, and then once you start to ask like on questions, kind of go back to how you were just doing it. Okay.
Spotlight is going to go on, and then it's going to go off, on, off. Once it goes off, you say on.
Acting-wise, there were a few instances, but generally, I thought that was probably pretty fun.
We wanted to create a skit that wasn't just a performance, it had a message behind it. Being one of the skit directors, Sandra and I, our goal and our message for this skit was to kind of highlight the identity crisis that a lot of Chinese Americans face. And we're using the time period around the Chinese Exclusion Act to kind of really emphasize that, because a lot of Chinese Americans, especially early on, had to face the decision of whether to assimilate or try to stick to traditional roots. And that's very much still an issue today, is having to stick to one's tradition and then also try to assimilate to the larger American culture.
So this year for China Night, I mainly took on the role as choreographer, and I had some modern dances, and I also assisted in getting traditional dances and like a modern fan dance going, and I had wonderful other choreographers assisting that, and I mainly handled that aspect. And then personally, as a choreographer, I injured my knee halfway through the semester, so some of my dances obviously I couldn't practice, but my dancers were really good and practiced by themselves, and my other e-board were really helpful in this time to handle everything, and I really had to be grateful for my e-board. And also, of course, if any culture night or performances in general, there's always many obstacles in the way that pop up randomly, but thanks to my e-board backing me up and having everything under control, there wasn't as many problems as there could have been.
All right, can I quick have everybody's attention before we start? Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the full run through right now. So, everybody needs to know what scene they're in. They need to be in the backstage wings before they're seen, and then you need to be near the backstage two scenes before the one that you're in, okay? So there needs to be easy transition from scene to scene.
Well, probably the most important obstacle for us to navigate was making sure that we didn't push the students too hard. This is a really hectic time, especially having a December date with finals so close. And a lot of our actors and a lot of our performers were also in Japan night, which was only 2 weeks earlier. So the biggest obstacle we had to navigate was making sure that people felt rested, that they felt like they were enjoying themselves, because ultimately this and the entire club is supposed to be something that people enjoy doing outside of the classroom.
Okay, line dance backstage, please.
So now it's intermission.
So Jackie's gonna go out and do the raffles until.
Because it's gonna be intermission, the raffle, and then I guess I'll have some rings of change, and then
Let's go, yeah. I know. 开始，要运动，心球，很提醒，追逐我的路。
Are they like sports fans or all that is?
All right, we really do want to run through it once more. Everybody's pretty tired, but we're gonna make it. Right, Kenny? Right, Kenny, buddy? All right, so please break for 15 minutes.
We might need more mapo tofu. We probably need more mapo tofu.
There's only two.
Only one tray?
Yeah.
You want more? Yeah.
I did a margarita. You know what though?
Chase, I just told you. One vegetables and one inside. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Should we call the next now? 8, 15, 16, 17, and 18.
So I hope you enjoy. All right, thank you.
尽量表现成像不在意的平凡的你，自欺欺人真，越掩饰越深刻。你说，我说，请说。
For me, China Night is one of the most important events that we have, and the fact that, yes, it is a performance to show Geneseo and the community, but it's mainly for the members in the fact it strengthens the bonds that we have, and it really shows the community what we can do as a club.
For both singing groups, please. Okay, thank you very much. We'll be right.
Chinese Culture Club, as well as a lot of the other culture clubs on campus, are designed for people who don't really come from those cultures and give them opportunities to learn about culture. So, as I was saying earlier, it was I was worried whether or not it was a place for me, whether or not I fit in, and it's the main aspect of my campus life here. And people shouldn't feel like they don't belong just because they don't come from a certain background. It's not made for that.
You said that you were gonna go on.
It's gonna be like picture.
So at first I was pretty hesitant about joining eBoard because I'm not really connected to my Chinese roots compared to my Thai roots. And I was worried that the club members wouldn't really receive me well because of it. But then as I was on eBoard, I realized that it really doesn't matter your skin color, because in the club we have a mixing pot of all cultures, all races, all unified to learn about this one culture. And yes, it's a cultural club, but it really is about family also, and it really does strengthen everyone. And it's beautiful to see how so many different cultures can come together and be united as one.
You love your culture. Are we all even in it? Is everyone here? Everyone! Get in!
What? You were in China for like 5 years.